least Rek'Sai time
Well,
for Spirit.
hopefully it doesn't go full rhythm, but Rek'Sai in Italy will see what he wants to take away. Vladimir banned there by EDG, Annie banned again by World Elite, so really picking on Mako's champ, but Mako's looked just fine. He's got a good champ pool there. Sion banned away from Aluka, Lissandra banned away from you. Some pretty interesting stuff happening so far. Lots of adaptation as we move into the third game.
I don't mind the Annie ban. Of the 36 games that Mako played in the regular season, he actually played Annie 13 times and was, I believe, 12-1 on that champion. He definitely defaults to Annie. Sivir Annie is probably their most bottom lane of most repute next to Jinx Jano, which we saw last game. The Annie can be so terrifying. It was in the last round of games. So the respect ban, unfortunately, it's a support ban. And as you mentioned, he can play other things.
Yeah, Urgot banned away there by EDG, so we'll take that one off as well. And World Elite now going to see what they want to take as their last ban here.
Hecarim's still up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you give Koru Hecarim, so probably have to ban that away. That's probably going to leave EDG to first pick Shyvana, because again, clear level plays Sejuani, but doesn't have a massive priority on their champion. Right now, the Smite teleport seems to be Koru's wheelhouse.
I mean, you say he doesn't have a priority. Remember, a couple of days ago, 14-1-10, I believe, was his Sejuani score. He plays a great Sejuani himself. But EDG, they're at this point where they can change rosters, they can change champions, and they can pick whatever they want and win. But Hecarim is so strong with the teleport smite. What do you choose against it? You don't even have the choice of Urgot to kind of give up on being an AD carry and just try and be a role player against the Hecarim. You're going to have to opt into a carry, and he does so much work against all of them. But EDG, they have so many options.
Yeah, Lulu, the last ban from World Elite, but Nunu's actually EDG's first pick. That's different. I mean, Clearlove certainly had lots of success on Nunu, but that is an aggressive pick away there. And Spirit might just default again. We said more carry potential, might be going straight to Nidalee.
But I mean, the Nunu is a real surprise, because if you ask me what would they take at first pick in a blind pick, I'd probably say something like Sivir, which is available in this situation. They don't lock in the Sivir. Hecarim, another excellent first pick, at least on this patch with the teleport smite, not considered. Nunu over all the other options. You're opting into Spirit, finally putting on the carry pants. We expected it. If you need to do it, sometimes you have to do it yourself.
Yeah, Maokai and Nidalee, the first two picks for World Elite. But again, we sort of said Aluka, he has played some Hecarim, but not that much and not to that great success. And he's not really been a big teleport smite guy. He's definitely been more of just a traditional flash teleport, which maybe even leaves the Hecarim open, which would explain why they didn't first pick it. Mako's going to get Thresh, but Koru's going to get Hecarim.
Yeah, and the Hecarim coming through. He's changed away from the spells, but has plenty of time to change those summoner spells. 3-3 on the Maokai, certainly not what was the undefeated Sion in the past 14 games. Of course, has that loss earlier in this series. Sion available, no, sorry, Sion banned away, so had to move to one of these other utility tanks. The result is the Thresh pickup. Still some initiation flavor for Mako.
Yeah, don't worry. Those summoners will change for Koru all in due time as World Elite. Get a look through their next few choices here. Xie looks not particularly happy. Mystic as well, a little blank face.
Let's raise 1 point. 5.4 came around. What was the first champion that Clearlove locked in? It was Hecarim. So there is still that possibility, but
That's
with Nunu
true.
being considered, probably not.
Well, we'll have to see what EDG want to do with their flex picks, but I love this from WE. We talked about more carry flavor. Jinx and Morgana are the 3rd and 4th for WE.
And I've been really impressed by Mystic's Jinx as well. He's no slouch on that champion at all. 2-0, 11 KDA, and playing it recently, so he definitely has his eye in for Jinx. It's a takeaway for EDG, but there's so many carries available. It's not looking like it's going to be a multiple tank lineup. They've got the Maokai for mid-game tankiness, but not going for a tanky jungler. So you could maybe even think about the Sivir in this situation, or the Corki, return of the Corki, which has been out of the meta with the change to 5.6. That's his most played champion. You look at a more damage-orientated jungler. Both of them are options.
Well, going to Sivir, but also going to Galio EDG, and I have to assume that that's Galio's support.
I don't think so. It's going to Thresh, remember.
Oh, what?
Let's take stock. It's going to be Nunu jungle, most likely. It's going to be Galio mid.
Yeah, it is. I'm finally looking through. You're right. There is the Thresh already there. We talked about, you almost joked about him being a wave clear only specialist, but Galio certainly fits that bill.
He's gone off the deep end in terms of wave clear at this point. The ultimate wave clear champion in Galio has seen a plethora of buffs actually come his way, so he's actually got even more wave clear because now I believe it's Righteous Gust now has scaling cooldown reduction, so you can use that ability for wave clear. The Resolute Smite Q already, high base damage, of course, with your magic resist scaling. for your passive into AP. You always have high AP values. I believe he does over 100 damage at level 1. We're talking instant wave clear in the mid lane, instant wave clear from Sivir. Not so much wave clear from Hecarim, but carry's going to come from the top, and everyone else is on wave clear duty.
Last pick Diana there actually from Share. Love to see him go back to more of a traditional carry, but could potentially struggle against the Galio.
In lane, it won't be ideal, but the one thing you can say, not that many split push options against the Diana. So if Diana gets big in the mid game especially, Hecarim always has that higher item timing, even if you're going to go for the Skirmisher's Saber. So that's maybe the hope for World Elite. They return to a Diana pick they've only used once in the LPL after basically monopolizing and drawing Diana bans in the IEM.
Yeah, we skipped through some of the matchups, but landing on the mid lane, that's the interesting one. Galio versus Diana. Deft on the Sivir versus Mystic on the Jinx. Have to think they'll navigate away from the matchup because we saw what happens in that matchup. Not good news for Sivir.
But he basically picked Sivir into Jinx. Remember that pastry time. So he must be confident. He should be after his last performance. He understands his matchup, but you raise a good point. Definitely get the lane swap, and you have multiple champions to talk about lane swapping because, hell, you could always put Galio in a lane swap as well and throw the Sivir in mid.
Galio. Always good to see him come back. He's kind of crept back in there. I've seen him once already. Thanks, Acorn, I believe, was responsible for that one.
In the top lane that time.
It was in the top lane. Yes, Acorn did not swap to mid, thankfully. That would have been quite a sight here. But EDG having a bit of fun. I like it from you, kind of keeping consistent with his champions. But let's see what Galio and the Gargoyle can get done. We're about to get into Game 3. And we are onto the Rift here as well as Chorus found Spirit nice and aggressively here, getting a couple of Qs down. Spirit maybe looks to answer with some spears of his own, but right now just some defensive neutral vision being put down here. And Italy, if they can interrupt the jungle or at least make a parting predictable, Spirit's aggressive counter jungling going to be a little less impact.
It's not just that. They need to invade for those potential lane slots we were just discussing. I feel like it's going to be a game of Russian roulette at level 1, trying to get the lane matchups everyone wants. EDG have already fooled us once. We know that they prioritize a 2v1 over necessarily a great 2v2 laning matchup. Now they actually need the 2v1. In fact, they'll get everything if they're able to get the lane swap, because you get Hecarim out of a 1v1 lane, opens himself up more time to be less accountable, can just go there and do some dirty farming and set up that situation. They're more about setting up the Hecarim to succeed than they are the Sivir, but in this same case, you want to avoid the Sivir Jinx matchup.
Yeah, and they broke Aluka's sapling at the Raptor camp, actually, so getting a nice sum of that away. Aluka will restart here in the Wolf camp, but take him a little while longer now to get it down.
But of course, they could just throw in a Resolute Smite. It has such high base damage. That's what they do. So Galio actually sets up a very fast timing for the Raptors.
Yeah, nice stuff for Aluka. We'll take away a camp here, and we do see the jungle follow. Hecarim actually doing the Raptors right now for himself. So again, the Smite top laners have so many good options in the early jungle.
It was almost an instant clear with the Resolute Smite over the wall into an actual Summoner Smite coming through from Hecarim. And all the Raptors die. He's actually going to get a second camp. Yeah,
nice stuff here as Korra going to move in. And again, the creativity, the versatility you get from the early laners means that lane swapping just so much easier now because your top laner no longer hamstrung as much in these situations.
No, of course, you're so flexible. You can start these other camps. Krillar's going to come steal some experience because he's vengeful like that. And they'll keep jungling.
And then Galio actually getting some work done here against Xier early on. Diana wants to get aggressive, but Galio pretty intractable here in the mid lane. And that range versus melee matchup with all the poke coming out from their Gargoyle going to be a bit tricky potentially. And we actually didn't notice, but both mid laners have teleport in the mid lane.
I mean, teleport Galio makes a lot of sense. You do have kill pressure, but it's more about showing presence with that ultimate. EDG, they've actually navigated. Koro's still jungling at this, so it still has an enter lane. And there's another buff going over.
And this is why we saw this in game 1. It's just so strong. Being able to 3-buff your opponent. Spirit's got no other buffs. Oh, no, there actually is a blue buff. But that's the second time EDG have aggressively walked into World Elite's jungle to take away a buff with their 2 smites so they can try and 3-buff. To me, you will take a little bit of damage, but dodges a gank from Spirit and keeps on trucking.
And Spirit showed on the bottom side of the jungle was no red buff to steal away that he will get 3-buff for a second time. That's the thing about these double smite games. Of course, we went through a long meta where 3 buffs never happened. Lane swaps happened. Jungle follows happened. We always end up with 2 buffs, but it was vertical jungling. Now when there's sometimes 4 smites on the map, in this case 2, the 2 smites secures an extra buff, and it keeps the enemy jungler down. So everybody wins. Hecarim gets early camps that he would be denied in a 1v2 because of his short range. The jungler gets ahead, sets the enemy jungler behind. EDG, they keep getting everything from these early games.
And we've started seeing a lot more teleport smite, but this is almost another level here from EDG in games 1, and now the start of this game as well. Looks like we are going to have a recall here. No, Mystic is going to hang around, just hanging out in the brush, thinking about it. And then we actually do have a swap back here. Coro's going to teleport down to the bottom. No major purchase though from Sivir. It's actually Jinx that has the additional item with a spare longsword to mix in there as well. So could potentially struggle here with Def Sivir.
Do get a small pause coming through, as we can see on the screen. Some Coro fans in the audience. So 2v2 lane, not ideal. And in this situation, World Elite weren't able to pick up the Dragon to answer all the pressure in the top side of the map especially. So things very even. We still remain to be convinced by the Galio pickup in general. Galio, you have to feel QSSs will come out and he will struggle to have relevance. There's already a black shield for at least a single target to negate the ultimate, and there's a Maokai who can use the ultimate, the Vengeful Maelstrom, to cancel out some damage. There's certainly a lot of tools to deal with Galio, so why we see it coming through from EDG? Maybe there's an interaction we didn't appreciate.
Yeah, we'll have to see if he can line up those ultimates. So especially with Coro joining in or starting the fight as well, could see some pretty devastating team fighting. And you know what? I do like the Sivir interaction as well, just getting him in there. But Spirit now going to get down towards the bottom. Aluka twisted advances onto Coro. He's going to try and devastating charge out of the way, but no, we're good to go. Forced to use the Ether onto Spirit for some damage, but nearly going to come through. A good arcane smash as Clearlove trying to go into the bottom lane, but a little too late, potentially not quite dead yet. And first blood does go to Maokai, and Spirit just gets out alive.
Spirit doesn't even have to use his flash. That's a big win there for World Elite. They get the first, but it's not punished. And Clearlove just too far away to be an impact.
And we've finally started seeing teams. We saw it a little bit. I believe it was actually EDG that were doing this, but picking on the Hecarim when he doesn't have a flash. As Mako goes in massive with a double flay. Exhaust on the Mystic will force out the flash. Deft going forward, actually blocks the zap with a spell shield. Now going to keep fighting as well. Fancies his chances here, going to save the heal. Use it nice and late. Mystic going to go down to Mako. Conan going to keep fighting in as well, but just can't do enough.
And this is Sivir winning in a Jinx lane matchup. Deft and Mako understand their limits, the champion so well. The moment that Mystic had to heal first, you worried for him in the trade, and he falls down, and all you can say is that Deft has a handle on the counter matchup just fine.
And it's just wonderful to see Deft summon a spell usage exhausted right away to make sure to reduce a lot of the initial trade damage, and then healed last. I mean, you talked about it. It's very simple stuff using it at the right time, but Deft, his reflexes especially are always on point.
And you have to remember that when we're talking about the fact that Sivir loses to Jinx in the matchup, it's not about 1v1 trading necessarily. It's about the fact that just in the laning phase, the ranges work against Sivir. That's the big situation that has to be discussed. We see Nidalee thinking about her options. The W's worn off.
Spirit going in. Moonfall lands as well. Good flash by Yu. Does actually get hunted, but dodges the pounce on top of him. Ultimate available, but if Spirit comes back, Gargoyle's not going to be so lucky.
Spirit was patient because he wanted the Bulwark to run out so there'd be less magic resist and increase the trade damage. That's probably what got them the flash, and now a lot of the kill pressure is gone. But speaking of kill pressure...
Yeah, Mako flashing on top there. Chompers going in, but will stop and clear up though. Here for some snowballs. Hook lands and Deft gets a kill.
I think Mystic had a dream about this particular day.
Yeah, Nightmare maybe as Coro still moving in. Spirit going to jump on top of him. Lots of good damage coming through. Should be able to secure the kill and does. So both junglers aggressively ganking the opposite sides of the map.
So it's answering pressure onto a Hecarim, but of course Hecarim will eventually get relevant, can duck out for camps, now has the machete, probably thinking, okay, laning phase not working out so well, but Mystic has had a horror, a nightmare of a series as you mentioned. Already 28 CS down in this Jinx vs Sivir matchup, and one way to deal with the fact that the extended trading's no good, just all in at every opportunity.
Yeah, and all in the turret now as well, maybe even break up the laning phase and give Hecarim a bit more breathing room. I do like that Spirit's ganking the obvious lane, that no flash Hecarim, especially before 6, is quite vulnerable. We've seen teams take advantage of that already, and Spirit even doing some counter jungling now as well. So on point with his Nidalee as we expect, but the tower in top lane falls, and this Civ is going to be quite far ahead.
So the other person who's far ahead is Spirit himself. I believe he has enough gold to back and get the Magus enchantment. Yes, he has it now. That's a lot of early pressure. 80 AP, 20% cooldown reduction. He took it on himself with the Nidalee. He's got the start he wanted. It's all about Spirit this game for World Elite.
Yeah, we'll see if he can carry World Elite through to a 4th game here and keep their dreams of still progressing through the playoffs alive. But Coro returning to the top side now, or going to the top side, I guess, for the first time almost level 6, are going to be a bit safer from Spirit's pressure once he does have the onslaught of shadows available. But falling a bit behind Alucard's Maokai, and Spirit continuing to power through the jungle.
You mentioned the word pressure. It feels like Def got the memo because Brutalizer into Pickaxe's early picks. That's so much early damage, specifically on the Boomerang Blade, is going to be chunking out people, and no one can enter lane against him with all that early pressure.
Yeah, they found Spirit, but Mako's already set up the trap. Spirit dodges his way in, and now the flare's going to come through, but they actually have to run here. Binding lands on a Mako. Clearleft coming as well, and the exhaust down on Spirit. Can they nail it? No, Spirit actually just gets a kill, hops away, throws another spear, might even go back in here. Does have the flash, pounces in, gets the double kill, hops away, might go for a third here. Resetting onto Clearlove, gets the pounce in, Q lands in, red buff enough, and Spirit gets a triple kill.
The solo mode from the jungler. There's the smile he didn't have pre-series. Very nice triple kill. The Chomper's actually the unsung hero from Mystic. Stopped Nunu from getting in, doing any extra trade damage, and the turnaround double to set up the triple. There the turret goes as well. World Elite just got everything.
Yeah, steals the blue off. World Elite really did get everything on the top side of the map. We talked about Spirit putting the carry pounce on. He has pulled them up tight around his hips this game. He's Italy already 4-0-1.
Yeah, 4-0-1. Magus, Tier, Boots, even a pink ward. He has everything set up to get through the early game. And suddenly, whenever he shows up a lane and registered with that Nidalee Spear, we're talking about execution damage.
And yeah, now has a Tier as well, so going to snowball himself nicely here in this game. It's amazing to me that Spirit, who keeps letting this pick get left open, doesn't seem to play it every game, but maybe you should consider it, because certainly if he wants to carry, it seems to be his champion of choice.
Yeah, the win rate's definitely been there. I believe 5-1 in the last 14, so with this lineup, it's still been very, very successful. He's just so good at the skill shots. He applies so much more pressure on this champion than the likes of Sejuani with the extra mobility from just the pounce being on such a short cooldown. And he's taken advantage of the fact that the mid lane's basically a wash. You never want to walk near Galio because he's always fairly topped up. Actually did successfully gank him earlier and blow the flash. Now he's going to take Dragon as well, but he's impacting the Hecarim especially. And other people have just been caught in the crossfire.
Yeah, and the Dragon going to go down quite easily here to Spirit's Nidalee. You can just see all of the resets from Cougar form coming in now as pounce after pounce after pounce. Quick Dragon there for Spirit. Pretty nice timing on that one, and going to get a pink word for his troubles as well.
And look, all World Elite have to worry about is the fact that there's a lot of synergy between Sivir and Hecarim. It's been a very successful duo. Clearlove's looking to duel with Spirit.
Nope.
Not sure if he wants to.
Yeah, teleport comes in. Binding will land as well, though, and Clearlove in. Oh, host of trouble. You're going to try and land it up, but I love the ulti from Conan. Just a zone now. Misty coming in. Spirit dives in again, and Maokai this time gets the kill. That's 2 quick ones for World Elite.
What a rotation coming through from World Elite. That's 4 members and Diana pushing in the bottom lane unannounced. People are just getting caught left, right, and center. And World Elite, they just want to power down this game.
Yeah, Clearlove dying twice already in this game. I believe there's the same amount of deaths in this series as his first 2 games. Def gets tagged by a spear. Spirit will not think too hard about going back in. Lands another one onto Def, but unfortunately for WE, no follow-up pressure.
And even though he has all these early game items, the Snowball, Brutalizer, and the Pickaxe, Def cannot look for fights at this present point. Nidalee's too strong, and all those spears registering just seeds map advantage to World Elite.
And that's bad news as the Jinx continues to farm up, catch up in the shaky early stages of the matchup there up against Deft. Now is all farming away, does have his Athenes, but she has answered with some strong CSing and a Morello Nomicon here. Spirit still stacking the tier. Corrin not even done with the Cinderhulk enchantment there on his Skirmisher's Saber. The Hecarim we saw in Game 1, this is a very different look.
Exactly. Doesn't have any items complete at 12 minutes into the game. The Cinderhulk's going to be delayed. That means the Trinity Force is going to be super delayed. Let alone even the mobility boots. At this present point, Koro has nothing. He just wants to keep farming, and that's just more unorganized laning for Nidalee and her hyper mobility to just pick off some more kills.
And I love the pick away here for Spirit as well. Got a quick Stalk Shoes and a blasting one for an Arcandle Shia. Now going on to you in the bottom side. Galio can't really do anything here. Does flash the last Q, so will be safe. And the Lantern there as well. But EDG pretty far behind in this early game.
And if Galio's in a short lane, he can just wave clear of plenty, but in a long lane against a reset assassin like Diana, matchup doesn't look great either. Again, I'm not sure about this Galio pick. All it really provides is one thing, wave clear, and then the AoE ultimate. But other options were available with similar wave clear, so why he defaulted to Galio, a melee champion, I'm not sure.
We'll have to see Ashir getting lots of free time in the bottom side. Doesn't even have a Stinger on Nash's Tooth for real split push power, but is already exerting pressure in the bottom side of the map. World Elite up a Dragon now as well, plus 4,000, actually 5,000 gold already EDG, they don't lose very often, but this is how it starts.
And I basically penciled 3-0 into the record books, but it's not looking like that's going to be accurate at this point. 5,000 gold. Deft basically had his build completely stopped. Is sitting on 1,600 gold, but had the pickaxe and brutalizer 5 minutes ago and hasn't been able to amass any more gold. Anyone who overextends is getting picked away, and now with all outer turrets up, the wards are being pushed up by Nidalee, and Clearlove, for once, has to be super passive and far back in his jungle.
Yeah, his Nunu's been capped down quite a lot in this game. Spirit was getting aggressive with the Sejuani in the last one, but couldn't make enough of a difference this game. Very different story. Spirit, we've seen what he's like on the Nidalee, and things looking strong so far. 7-2 up for World Elite already, and 3-1 up in turrets as well. Deft did go back, spend a little bit of gold, but it's just not that much coming at Coro, even on top of ward. Looking for a lane gank. Clearlove will finally clear out the pesky ward that World Elite had sitting just behind that brush. But this is usually expect EDG to get off to pretty flying starts, but this has been uncharacteristically slow for them.
And now you just look at the champion power spikes that are being achieved through items. If anything, Mystic is maybe ahead of the Sivir, has the boots too, can rotate better than the Sivir, apart from her ult being popped, of course. Nidalee, less said about her, the better if you're an EDG fan. She's massively strong. Maokai has a much stronger mid-game power spike and has an item advantage over the Hecarim. CS 30 CS up himself. World Elite, they can choose to fight, they can keep sieging, they can gank and skirmish in extended lanes. They have every option to them, and if they don't win this game, it's going to be over poor rotations, because right now they're primed to take it home.
They are, and the next Dragon's going to be up in a minute 45, so World Elite holding on and fighting back in the game where they absolutely had to here in the best of 5, and you going to keep wave clearing away, but not going to go back. Maybe has some money to spend. Can teleport in, of course, for the Dragon when it's up, so not too bad. But again, EDG is not that much money right now.
Exactly. And it's just the Athenes now building a bit more magic resist. Barring the wombo of all wombos, the Onslaught of Shadows into the Galio ultimate, and then Sivir just putting through a massive boomerang blade. I just don't see how they win a fight. They have decent pick opportunities, but they have no map pressure to be able to put down pink wards. All their wards are being cleared out by the roaming World Elite. Their map pressure is translating into vision struggles and vision control, and EDG, they don't look like they can really even fight for an objective. So, I mean, EDG opting into a late game against the likes of Diana, who's going to be so strong in split pushes, has the teleport, which is matched by you. They have the Jinx versus Sivir matchup, which should really pay dividends, especially in the late game when we're talking about safe damage from 700 plus range compared to Sivir. Only the Hecarim really works in the advantage of EDG, and crucially for World Elite, he's the furthest person behind on his team.
And all of a sudden, Spirit goes from smiling before the series starts to flopping on his desk in despair and after the last one, and now he saw him then laser focused on his monitor, has the killer instinct look in his eyes there, and you kind of hanging up being like, yep, playing Galio. It's going to casually farm up and see what I can get done. EDG, again, they don't get put in these spots very often, and World Elite making it look easy almost. Where was this World Elite in the first 2 games?
Spirit just needs to give in to his first intuition. You saw at the start of the season. What's the first thing he knew? He's like, all right, guys, I'm going to be the carry. In that stage, maybe he was going a bit too far. The Riven jungle probably wasn't necessarily the best route to that, but the moment Nidalee was introduced to the jungle pool, a highly mechanical, smart jungler like Spirit was always going to take advantage of it. And this is the result you get. Goes back onto the carry champ. It's far away from the likes of Nunu and Sejuani. 5-0-2 complete run of the jungle and making Clearlove look like an amateur after a wonderful season from Clearlove.
Yeah, those 2 deaths are going to hurt Clearlove's KDA. And given how good his KDA is, he's probably not happy with that. But 5-0-2 on the Nidalee, like you said, that's 100% kill participation as well. So Spirit doing all the heavy lifting in the first 15 minutes of this game. And even Maker looking a little frazzled. He's normally smiling, having a good time. He stole a red buff in the last week of the LPL and giggled his face off after he did it. But everyone's still focused here. World Elite know they have to battle back here, but they're after the best possible start to make the 3-0 reverse all kill happen.
It's just such a strange game because World Elite have to keep it unorganized. They don't want to have grouped 5v5s under turrets just because there's instant wave clear coming through from EDG between Sivir and Galio. Massive ranged wave clear coming through. So they're happy to keep the fight's a bit more unorganized. As long as they keep Coro accountable, make sure they can't pick up any farm, delay the power spikes of the eventual Trinity Force and Home Guard boots, then they're going to be happy. They just need to avoid a situation when they're sieging because even though they have a Nidalee, it sounds like they want to opt into siege. The wave clear is just too strong from EDG. That's the only thing they have left. even though they haven't snowballed the wave clear, it's just from the kits, so you can't take that away.
And they're happily buying time as well for Mystic to get even stronger. Had a rough early start to the lane, dying in the 2v2 at about level 4, I believe, there in their matchup in the top. So things looking a lot better now. Still behind in CS is Mystic by about 20. It's 143 to 123 right now, but
he's ahead in gold despite a horror laning phase, just from all the global advantage. They have the 3 out of turrets, so sieging mid especially is not quite a priority now that they have access to aggressive wards. He's actually got enough gold for his Infinity Edge after about just the next creep or so he'll back and pick that up to go with the Berserker Greaves. Actually ahead in item timings. The Brutalizer, that was a great snowball choice from Def, actually might hold back the full build especially. The wave clear still going to be confirmed, but everything else looking good for Mystic.
And that's all Spirit again, causing pressure, buying time. He's got 2 good farming champions in the mid and bottom. Even Maokai needs to farm up and get tanky, and Aluka's been able to navigate pretty well around all of the movement as well. And Koro being held down, that's the biggest issue. You highlighted it already, but this is not the Hecarim we saw in that first game, snowballing away, going crazy. Spirit's done a much better job of keeping tabs of that Hecarim's early pathing around the jungle.
And actually, Aluka's 1,500 gold ahead. He's sitting on 2,500 gold is the Maokai. It's 15 minutes, so while it's not an ideal part time, you could even go greedy and copy Looper and go towards the Rod of Ages on Maokai, just to match a bit of the late game impact of the Hecarim. Or you could just go straight into the mid game power spike, try and take the game home early and get a righteous glory and work towards some other item.
I mean, with all the time that Spirit's buying you, I would not hate a Rod of Ages here on Aluka, so we'll see if that's what he does want to opt into. Deft looking pretty quiet there as well on your screen. He's doing well. He's had a consistent season, been absolutely wonderful all split long. Looked great in this series as well. He's had 2 great games, even off to a good start in this one as well, but the rest of his team lagging behind. Clearly, for once, on Nunu of all champions, not able to match Spirit's pressure on Nidalee.
And the thing about Sivir is that she gives up some damage for utility with the ultimate, with the On the Hunt. She usually, and every other time, basically, Sivir, that Def's played this Sivir, he's had multiple other members of his team, Koro especially, and Clearlove, be able to pick up the slack and use that utility to get engaged. But both those guys are significantly far behind. The Galio is going to be flash reliant whether the On the Hunt is available or not. So at this point, the champion pick's actually holding him back a bit, even though it fits the comp. Hecarim Sivir, we mentioned multiple times, have wonderful synergy together. But even though he's 20 CS ahead, 1-0-1, it's Sivir. It can only do so much in a fight.
Yeah, and you can see players looking a little tired here. It's been quite a long pause. We are still waiting to see when the game will resume, but I can't imagine it will be too much longer from this particular position. Players rubbing their foreheads, running their eyes. World Elite especially have to realize that if they win this game, they've got to win 2 more for the upset over EDG to get themselves into the semifinals. And if they're rubbing their eyes and scratching their heads right now, they don't know the half of it, because it's going to be a real long night.
Yeah, the moment you go 0-2 down, you're walking a tightrope for the rest of the series. You can't afford to stumble, because if you fall off, you will be done. It will be the end of your season. It's good to see them rally behind. It's good to see them actually show a positive performance. The first 15 minutes have definitely been World Elites, even though Mystic's been struggling. I mean, it's been opened up by Spirit. He had a much improved game. When he was looking down, I thought, okay, maybe it's all getting to him, but clearly he's just unleashing his frustration onto EDG. They haven't taken it down. Teams have gotten ahead of EDG only to get outscaled in the late game. It's definitely not scaling on paper that necessarily works for EDG, but you've got that Galio pick, which, look, it's going to have a great ultimate. There's going to be a lot of utility. You have to feel like Koro might not need to hit the Trinity Force timing as early pastry time, because you can throw the Bulwark onto the diving Hecarim and make him very innately tanky. He has a decent health pool and a Cinderhulk already, so maybe he'll just hit that tankiness a bit earlier. But it's definitely going to be an emergency Bulwark, because Koro is going to hit those timings late. Yeah,
I mean, that's the bad news. Koro, we've seen him be more of a carry, you especially subbing in. And it's been nice to see that EDG can sort of adjust some of their strategy on the fly and, you know, get Koro into more of a carry role. He certainly never had problems doing that from the top lane, but felt like more of a utility player, especially at the start of this season. But I mean, the CS numbers don't look good. Everyone's behind except Deft, and on Civ, I don't know how much work can get done. If he was on a super hard carry, I'd be, you know, probably pretty confident in his ability, even from this position. But Spirit's going to have everything trained on him, and GA especially. He's the real scary thing to me. Jinx late game's great. Spirit early right now is good. Maokai just fine at almost all stages. Diana's to me scary because when she gets big, she just rips through backlines. Basically what Corey did in game 1, she is going to look to do in this game.
And she is going to be all about split pushing. We've already seen that Galio cannot stand up to Diana in a side lane. When there's no turret behind him, when he can't just sit back and wave clear from range, he can be caught out. And the consistent damage from Diana around her auto attacks, her passive, and just the resets on her ultimate. You've got a large model size. It's very hard to dodge that Crescent Strike. In a long lane, it's not an option for EDG. That's why I said that the only way that World Elite can lose this game with the advantage they have, with the comps that are being picked, are misrotations. EDG, their only option to extend this game is to hope that World Elite will siege down one turret and then just wave clear with Sivir and Galio. But the thing about taking out this outer ring of turrets is that you can invade, get aggressive wards down, and ensure that you can just rotate faster and negate the advantages that the likes of Galio and Sivir's instant wave clear can give. Galio and Sivir can only wave clear if you're predictable in your movements, but if you've got the advanced vision, if you hold them all accountable and just out-rotate them, you can still take down structures even against all that wave clear.
Yeah, and I have to wonder, Clearlove's Nunu going this, you know, looking for the Cinderhawk early before getting that Sidestone. I feel like in 2 different games, though, even Spirit on Sejuani was able to keep pretty good tabs on the Nunu, and that's normally Nunu's job. Run around in the jungle, plop down wards, you know, just basically keep track the enemy jungler in their own side of the map and just follow them around. You can't really do anything, but if you're following them, constantly snowballing them, they can't really do anything either. That's sort of the point.
And that's the surprise that, again, he's been delaying that Sidestone. Usually it's been Machete into straight up Sidestone. 800 gold, bam, Sidestone, just to make the enemy jungler accountable. And this is Spirit of all people. You'd think, as we load into this game, if you want to keep tabs of anyone, Spirit on Italy, that's right at the top of the list.
Yep, definitely keep track of this, man. And you can see why massive scoreline already as we have popped back into the game just to take stock of where we are. Good lead here for World Elite, actually fairly significant in gold. As you can see, they're about 5,500 gold up already. Second Dragon's going to be up in 50 seconds there as well. And honestly, World Elite don't even need it. They're probably going to claim it in Italy. Great at objective control as well. And Def starting to freeze the mid lane. That seems like a warning sign.
I mean, if anyone needs dragons, it's EDG. They've got a very short-range lineup. It's just Sivir and Thresh for range damage. Great turret damage as you can see those bursts are already high. If you don't preeminently bulwark, and it's not that long a duration, I believe it's 3-4 seconds, you're taking big bursts.
Yeah, I wonder why. Oh, they don't have a tower. I was like wondering why you was in the bottom lane, but then of course all the 3 outer turrets down mean that Galio doesn't really have safe places to wave clear. Only 1 point in the W there as well, that shield. So going to be a bit tricky right now. It does, again, if he gets time alone, able to clear them out well. But GA right now not looking to give anybody time alone in their lane.
I mean, Deft freezing the mid lane wave tells you a story. It tells you that EDG are hoping World Elite go for the siege. They hope that they bring the aggression to them and they can just wave clear because they just aren't in a position to contest any of these objectives. Jinx went back, bought an Infinity Edge, has Berserker Greaves. Those timings not yet hit for Deft. Only has Flat AD and Armor Pen. Only is going to be good for wave clear defensively. Galio only good for wave clear defensively. It's only Hecarim that has any lane pressure, so him actually picking up farm is more important than this dragon going down. They need this Hecarim to hit those items.
Yeah, Korra's the big deal here. I mean, Sivir does have the Brutalizer now alongside the Infinity Edge as well, so Def will do relevant damage, but Korra going to go back. What's he going to go for? How greedy does he want to be with his build?
I think it has to be the boots. I think you have to go for the slightly gimmicky but oh so effective Moby boots, but no, he actually goes for a Kindle Gem in this situation. So Spirit Visage, I guess, maybe even just an Aegis into a Locket. He might have to go Team Focus. That means no Trinity Force till maybe 40 minutes.
No, it seems like Aegis here for Clearlove though, so he will be able to pick that one up, which will help greatly against the diving Diana especially. But Spirit has a Void Staff already.
I mean, that's his snowball purchase. Of course, going to be high magic resist values with the Bulwark from Galio and Galio in general. He chooses a priority target. It's Deft, but doesn't register the speed.
Good reflexes there from Deft, immediately bailing out of his own jungle. Clearlove going to try and get the wards out of the way, but Spears land. People are going to fall down quite quickly. Spirit going to return the favor there by clearing some Vision out as well. Vision on the red buff right now. Spirit might just keep hocking Spears in. Smite does go down. Mako going to tank that one. Hook wide there as well. And again, Spirit defending that pink ward pretty much as a one-man army right now, keeping EDG back out of their own jungle.
But EDG 5,000 gold ahead do pick up their own red buff. We always criticize King for not capitalizing on their advantages. World Elite, they took those outer turrets down super early. 12, 13 minutes, had the outer ring of turrets. They should be contesting for these objectives. They now have an exact timer. You can maybe pardon them for not picking this one up, but they need to be on points in 5 minutes time to ensure that no free buffs, not even camps, go to Koro or any of the members of EDG.
And you can see Koro on the Grump. That's some farm that he desperately needs here in this game. The Grump, a big influx of gold there, especially with the jungle item already finished up there for the top laner. Mako and Def continuing to farm away the mid side. Def seems to want the safest amount of farm, and now that the wave's pushing back, is going to be able to wave clear out. And this is one of the things about World Elite. If they're going to keep aggressively pushing in and they can't get picks and there's nothing to contest for, they don't really do anything.
I mean, you open up a lot of Baron pressure because Baron hasn't spawned yet, so freezing is kind of a genius strategy. You've already given away the Dragon. Any hopes of Dragon are down. Under turret, you have instant wave kits, only being overextended that anything can really happen. And if Spirit says, okay, screw it, let's group up and siege, you're instantly happy. You can just teleport the Galio over. You have a lot of wave clear. So they're trying to lose the minimum here, EDG, and pull it to late.
Def's got that blue buff, I believe, as well. In clinical smite there from Clearlove. And again, same story. World Elite should be contesting with his buffs.
They're trying to come through, but Siva's there. How much turret damage can they get?
I mean, here's the siege, but Def eats the Q. Sheer might just flash in and go for the kill. Their spear lands as well. Mako forced to tank up. Def spell shields late for maybe the first time in his life. And Yu's going to come in for some additional wave clear, but Deft already backed away.
Yeah, but Galio's here now. He also has instant wave clear, so Diana needs to be rotating bottom to get turret damage down. This is the only way they can siege, is to keep rotating. They have no aggressive ward time. They've all actually been cleared by EDG, so they need to get some red wards down to open up those rotations. As you can see, the poke, it hurts.
Yeah, Spirit Spear is not a joke here, and Kora even going to threaten with the ultimate. Level 11 now is the Heck Room. As you can see, Galio leaving a trail there. Oh my god, Deft instantly gets back, and you can see him looked a little disgusted with himself there after he came back. Immediately forced away, and EDG already used the recalls. Oh, he's trying to snipe him, but Deft cleverly walks back to base.
Yeah, he just walks back in a quite defensive manner, respecting the Super Mega Death Rocket. The Swift Push's on again. There's no Sivir in the mid lane. This should be a turret with minigun form for World Elite.
Yeah, turret absolutely dead here. That's the fourth of the game here for World Elite. They slowed things down a little, but now getting more aggressive. Spirit will take away the Wolf there as well. She is going to take the Crux. This is more of what we want to see. World Elite starting to monopolize some of this vision, and EDG forced further and further back into their base.
And this is exactly what we wanted, Patreon. Look at this minimap. We've got Raptor vision, we've got Wolf vision, we've got Blue Buff vision. They're eventually going to push a ward up to the Grump. No free camps for EDG whatsoever.
No, and EDG walking towards the Baron. I thought... No, I thought they were going to try an EDG special, but they only do that when ahead, thankfully, it seems like. So no emergency Baron just yet. They have a pretty sizable gold deficit here, and Deft kind of recognizing it, going for a Ghost Blade here.
I mean, he has so much mid-game damage to make up for his team's just lack of items, so I guess he's gone for the earlier power spike. Of course, for 6 seconds, he's going to be DPSing down people, but if he doesn't pick up a Phantom Dancer or a stage shift going into the late game, that's going to be 6 seconds of power and no damage to Maokai whatsoever. So his tank busting is gone, but his mid-game damage very high.
Yeah, needs the last Whisper third, you have to think, with Aluka already done with the Frozen Heart and the Righteous Glory, even a spare Ruby Crystal in there as well. Spirit has gotten the Transform on his Archangel Staff now as well to join in with the Magus Trailblazer, Sork Shoes, and the Void Staff, and she casually with his Zonies here. I mean, World Elite just so far ahead.
I can see you losing breath as you mentioned all the different item pickups. They've hit so many great item timings. The Seraphs is even complete for a defensive option, but I don't think EDG are going to get offensive anytime soon.
Kalila eats a spear. Good health pool might keep him safe for now, but again, going to get forced out here. Can't clear any of these wards. Spirit far too scary on the Nidalee. Koru trying to get farm down the bottom. That's the right man to get farm on. Spirit Visage up's going to make Koru quite a bit tankier, but again, not the damage coming through. Not the same Heck Room from the first game.
It isn't the Trinity Force, so look, diving Mystic's not looking good anytime soon, but the Spirit Visage actually opens him up as a viable person to split against Diana, so not a bad choice in this game. Going Trinity Force, he still wouldn't have been able to stand up to the Diana, you'd have to think in general. The burst trade's not going to work against the tankiness coming out from the Pale Cascade Shield. I think that was stolen away by the Spirit.
No, Korra got a good smite actually securing it away, but Spirit going to get the third dragon for his team.
Yeah, he has the smite available for this objective. Going to take the dragon over the big golem, you'd have to say. And Koro, let's wait for some damage trades to come in. Just see how strong this Spirit Visage actually is.
Yeah, Shia going to dive in now as well. Morgana lining it up as well. Q just missing with Spirit now as the Spear Moonfall there as well. Going to force Koro to ultimate away, and World Elite might get some damage on a turret.
Yeah, Sivir won't get to this turret anytime soon. No other wave clear, remember, it's just Galio and Sivir, and neither of them present.
Yeah, Spirit pounces away from the hook there as well. Def returns and immediately walks behind the creep. Doesn't want to eat any poke here. Teleport coming through, I believe. That is Galio, yes. So EDG might want to fight, but it's 5v5. Koro not even in the area, and no ultimate even if he was.
I mean, not eating the poke is a luxury EDG do not have. We're talking about the Crescent Strike, the Nidalee Spears, Zaps coming out, the Sapling's going to be set. There's so many different types of line skill shots to respect, and all the members are snowballing.
Yes, yeah. Gets the Crescent Strike down. Luca diving in, going to find Mako as the target. He's going to get blown up potentially, but flashes forward to Luca. They need to try and peel for depth and clear up. Moving back in, a massive ulti from Mystic. Almost kills the Sivir and Luca. Just too tanky at this stage as Kara gets caught there. Shea will get the kill, and Wild Elite going to close the trap.
We still haven't seen a Galio ultimate base time level 12. Might have to go for an emergency one, because here comes 5.
Yeah, that's too many people diving in. Going to try and look at it. Does go. The ulti lands in there as well, but not enough. Spirit even pounces on top of it, and World Elite, 5th turret going down.
It was instantly interrupted by Luca. Believe he got the Q down, the Arcane Smash to interrupt it. Nothing being provided by you that another champion couldn't have done better, and they're going to keep pushing.
Yeah, Luca flashes forward. Deft immediately spell shields, but that's enough to take the inhibitor turret and the inhibitor down itself. World Elite get their first inhibit, 24 minutes. Mystic gets caught by a hook, but it just doesn't matter. Mako will exhaust us over. Spirit diving in, Moonfall down as well. Clearlap gets exhausted, trying to go in massive. Luca dives in, kills Deft under 2 Nexus turrets, and World Elite are just going off. Koro going to get kited to death there. CC'd for days. 4 kills for 1, and EDG might be the ones to surrender now.
Yeah, they might consider surrendering, but WE are going to back out. They probably could have taken out at least 1 Nexus turret.
There it is. The Zonius usually tells you flash use there as well by Shea, and EDG surrender a 25-minute game, and Spirit knows he has to focus, has more games to win, but that was one way to mount a comeback.
Absolutely. Put the carry pants on firmly, did Spirit, with a wonderful early jungling performance against Clearlove. Clearlove on your screen looking a bit puzzled. This hasn't happened to him in 2015. That's why we're talking about him in the top 3 junglers. He finally started putting out so much pressure. But 5-0-2 of the first 7 kills, 100% kill participation. This game, Spirit took it by the scruff of the neck and never let go.
Yeah, and Clearlove, very unsettled there, you can say, having a very heated discussion with his teammates. And Mystic smiling his head up, going, yep, don't do it, Def. Don't pick Sivir into Jinx.
No, don't pick Sivir into Jinx. He picked it for comp. Unfortunately, his comp exploded in front of him. Nothing he could do. He did fine this game, did Def, but his teammates left and let him down. You feel like they just went a little bit too crazy with the Galio picks, with just the off-meta situation. They picked Sivir Hecarim together thinking, okay, team fights will look nice with those duos, and just ignored the fact that their laning just fell apart in general. And EDG, they're going to have to go back to the drawing board because they can't play like that. Otherwise, we might be moving towards a game 5.
I mean, already an achievement here for this not to be a 3-0, but that was a performance from World Elite to take it. Now, we are going to take a quick break, but when we return, the game 4, we'll see if World Elite can continue